What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another edition of Smart Talks. Today we're going to be talking about shared value. Now, you may not have ever heard of that term, but we're going to talk about what that is and why that's so important for this whole idea of building community through building businesses, using entrepreneurship and using innovation to lift, to buoy, to lift the economics of a community, of a region. That is really what I'm focused on when it comes to these smart talks, and focused on my work that I've been doing probably over the last maybe 4 or 5 years or so. So very excited about this conversation. So what is shared value? Shared value is literally using a business model to solve a social need. You know, shared value is all about how do we share the value? How do I create something that not only creates value for shareholders, meaning how do you make money with it, but how do you also create value for the community or for the people that you're serving as well? So it's less of a transaction and more of a relationship. That's what shared value is all about. And so I got introduced to this concept, I would say, again, maybe about 5 years ago, 4 years ago. And it was so profound to me that you could solve a social problem with a business model. And again, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an innovator. Like, I've been doing entrepreneurship for 20 years. So when I discovered this whole idea, this whole framework around shared value, I got so excited because the thing that I do the best and have done the most for the last 20 years, which is entrepreneurship, is literally ground zero for how you solve social needs. So why is shared value important? First of all, generally there are nonprofits. You know, when you talk about the social stuff, when you talk about solving social problems, when you talk about doing stuff in the community, generally you leave that to the NGOs and the nonprofits. That's the general thought process. I want to do something positive for the community, so I need to start a nonprofit, or I need to, partner with a nonprofit. I want to give to a good cause, so I need to give my money to a nonprofit or give my money to a church, that type of thing. That's the general thought process, is that when it comes to the community stuff, when it comes to the people stuff, there has to be some sort of nonprofit that actually gets involved with that work. Well, most nonprofits, and I'm here in Maryland, so I can just speak about Maryland, but I'm sure that these statistics are pretty, uniform across the board. But most nonprofits, especially here in the state of Maryland, they don't raise more than $25,000 in a year, and a lot of the nonprofits, especially the ground level, organic, homegrown, the nonprofits that are doing the work on the streets, the ones who are passing out the Christmas baskets and giving away the Easter turkeys and giving away coats and coat drives for kids who need coats in the wintertime, that type of thing. These are small community-based nonprofits that a lot of times the owners of the nonprofits or the founders of the nonprofits are actually self-funding these nonprofits. They'll get friends and families or people who are in their direct sphere of influence to donate to the nonprofit or donate for a specific, let's say, initiative that they want to do, to get school supplies or to get jackets or to give away, dinners, during Thanksgiving time, whatever it is. Generally that's how these things are done. These are great people that are doing great work in the community right on the ground. But here's the problem. You can't work at scale like that. And when I say at scale, how many people do these local nonprofits that are generating, $25, $50, $100,000 in revenue every year through grants, maybe, but a lot of times through just the giving of the people around them, how much impact can they actually have? They may have served 50 people, 100 people, let's say even 500 people in their community. That's fine. That's great. That is an awesome place to start. And that is awesome work in the community. Here's the transition. Here's the jump over to shared value. Shared value is how you take a business model so that you can solve some of those same exact needs. This is where it gets really exciting. And again, this might be a provocative idea. This might be something that you've never heard of before, but really follow my trend of thought. Because if you have a business that's actually making money, so that means that they're solving problems at a profit. That's all a business is. We're able to sell something for more than the cost that it cost us to produce it, meaning that product or that service. That's all a business is. So if you're able to solve a social problem while making a profit, guess what? There is no limit, no cap on the amount of people that you can help. That's why business is the perfect organism, the perfect institution, the perfect organization, a business to solve social needs, because that's the way that you can do it sustainably, and that's the way you can do it at scale. Now, again, a lot of people just, the default setting is that, hey, we need to start a nonprofit if we want to work in the community. Well, I have another thought process now that I've really started to get into this shared value thing, that we need to start businesses so that we can work in the community. We need to start businesses so we can help people. You know, business is literally the only mechanism on the planet that allows you to help people or to solve social needs at scale. So if you have a business with a business model involved, you don't have to raise money. You don't have to go to friends and family to get them to donate for a good cause, whatever that cause is. If you have a business that's doing it, the business always is making money. It raises its own money. That's what makes it sustainable, because now you have a business that's solving a problem at a profit. Now, if you can do that, that's where it gets really interesting and really exciting. So that's something that I've really been focused on over the last 4 or 5 years. I really like the idea of getting into business for the purpose of solving social needs. So you think about a company like Tesla. Everybody's heard of Tesla. Say what you want about Elon Musk. Some people like him, some people hate him. But he got into this business so that, I mean, the mission is right there on their website, so that he can help to transition the world off of gas and oil and things that are not sustainable, and transition the world into a more sustainable energy future. That is the purpose that he started Tesla. That is the mission that he started Tesla. So we have a huge need of climate change and all of these different things. And it all goes back to, we need to have less pollution in the air. Cars and transportation pollute a lot in the air. So he said, hey, I'm gonna start this car company so that we can have an electric car that starts to transition the world off of using dirty energy into using clean energy. And that is something that he's been able to do, because now he sells cars at a profit that are solving a huge social problem. And so that is like kind of the I love Tesla because of this specific reason, because he's using the whole idea of shared value to really solve a huge problem, and he's doing it sustainably. Like, Tesla doesn't need to raise any money. They don't need any donations. They don't need their friends and family to give any money. That's the great part about solving social needs with a business. So what does that mean for you that are watching? That means that entrepreneurship and business is really where we need to be looking, the business community, so that we can start looking at how to solve needs in our community. How do we get innovation? How do we get people to get their ideas? How do we reach into a community, cultivate and develop ideas that will solve problems in that community? That's a lot of the work that I've been doing. So I wanted to give you all a framework, just thinking about what shared value is, how I've been thinking about it over the last few years, and how I've been putting things together so that we can create this model. And I mentioned this on the last Smart Talk. How do we can create this model so that we can go into communities, find ways to cultivate and develop ideas in those communities, and then that brings out solutions that solve problems in that communities. The things that I'm really interested in is not just using shared value so that we can solve social issues in a community, but I want the community to be the ones who are spearheading those ideas. That's kind of part two to the whole idea of shared value for me, is that I want the community to be a stakeholder. I want the people in the community to be able to come up with these ideas and come up with these solutions and these innovations, so that they're stakeholders, they're solving problems in their community. And the thing that makes it sustainable, again, is that there's a business model behind it. So that's the model that I've been working on. I wanted to do this Smart Talk today. And again, I'm gonna try to do these every week. Last week's Smart Talk, I got a lot of calls. A lot of people watched it. They're really interested in this whole idea of how do we build our communities? Well, there's a way to do that, and there's a way to do it sustainably. But the thing is that it has to be done with business. There's nothing wrong with my nonprofits. Keep giving to nonprofits. Keep giving to the NGOs. Keep giving to these people who are doing the work on the ground. They are great partners in our communities. Keep doing that work. What a business model does, however, it helps to take that work and it does it at scale. So how do you not just help 100 people in that community? How do we help 1,000 people in that community, 10,000 people in that community, 50,000 people in that community? The only way to reach those kind of numbers is if we do that with a business model. That's how it can become sustainable, and that's how we can achieve scale. So I'm really excited about this idea. Shared value, again, is something that we'll be talking about very often during these Smart Talks. It really is kind of the basis for this whole idea of helping communities through business, through entrepreneurship, and through innovation. That is the basis of all the models that I've been putting together, the basis for the work that I've been doing over the last, like I said, 3 or 4, maybe even 5 years or so. This whole shared value thing blew my mind away when I first got introduced to it. So when I really got my arms wrapped around the idea that the work that I've been doing over the last 20 years, which is heavy business, heavy entrepreneurship, can now be pointed towards the communities that I really have a passion with serving and a passion with helping, that was something that was very exciting to me, because I'm able to bring those two worlds together and really able to do some really exciting and, again, interesting things just in ways that aren't generally done. You know, it's a new way of thinking about things. It's a new way of approaching community. And that's what makes me really excited. All right, as usual, like, subscribe, share, send this information to every community person, every entrepreneur, every business person, you know, that you know. I would love to have these conversations. You know, send me emails, send me text messages, I guess, for those that know me. Best way, I guess, to get a hold of me is email. You can also reach out to me on Instagram. I'm on there pretty often, but I want this conversation to be one that is in every community, from government to the universities, to the community colleges, to the nonprofits, to the business community. This is a conversation that we all need to have, and we need to have it collectively, because there's a lot of things that we can all do together to support one another to make sure that we're solving these issues and solving these problems. All right, also as usual, I got a little bit off a tangent there. I'm so excited. But also as usual, the best form of support is just you all being here with me today, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, I'm Tremain Davis, and I will see you all in the next Smart Talk. Peace.